Good evening and welcome to PI Voices. I'm your host, Natalie Nelson, and this evening my co-host, as usual, I have Mr. Boyd McFarland and Clint Ferris. Missing is Emile Henderson, but he'll be joining us again real soon. And of course, gentlemen, another exciting night.
Yes, ma'am.
Glad to be here.
Definitely, Natalie. I'm very glad to be here as usual. And
Hot topics?
Very much so. And pressing on everyone's minds is what took place this weekend. And I want to. We're all about rock your voices and VI voices. So I would like the audience to rock their voice in prayer and rock their voice in hope for those persons who are missing and the plane crash that took place on Saturday. And I'm going to say this. I'm so glad that Valerie Jackson Thompson was found. I know her personally, and I'm so glad because God does answer prayers. And for those that are missing still, He will answer prayers. And let's pray that Rachel Hamilton is found. Let's pray that the pilot Kirby Hodge is found, and I think Attorney Darwin Carr is found. And I would definitely love that they are found. My light is on right now, and I'm leaving my light on until they are found.
Totally, and we agree with you. For those of you on the mainland who don't know, we had one of our small aircrafts went down this weekend, which would have been October
13th.
The 13th?
Yeah, Saturday, October the 13th.
Early, and that aircraft that was piloted by Kirby Hodge apparently does the route on a regular, almost daily basis, carrying the local newspaper between St. Croix and St. Thomas. And as those of you know, we were expecting Tropical Storm Raphael. So while we were spared from that, I believe that there was some rocky water, so it wasn't the best timing either. But nonetheless, on board was, as Clint said, the pilot Kirby Hodge, who is still missing, Rachel Hamilton, who is still missing, and Attorney Darwin Carr, who is still missing. And out at sea, about 7 miles outside of St. Thomas, Valerie Jackson Thompson was located. So, as Clint said, our hearts and prayers goes out to the families and hope for good news that hopefully they will be found.
And if I want to offer this scripture on behalf,
most definitely.
Yeah, and I know the family of Rachel Hamilton as well. My prayers go out to them. I know her son's birthday is coming up, and I'm praying that by her son's birthday she is found as well. And it's taken from Psalms 46, 9 to 11. He maketh wars to cease unto the end of the earth. He breaketh the bow and cutteth the spear in sunder. He burneth the chariot in fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. And the Lord is definitely our refuge. And we hope the family can find refuge in the Lord and pray because He does answer prayer.
And you know, I understand that Valerie's family had a prayer chain going among the various Caribbean islands. So.
Correct. And actually, that's one family. Rachel Hamilton's family and Valerie.
They're related?
They're related. They're cousins. So they're connected. So the family was praying, and I do hope. One thing I'm going to pray for. I'm praying for that all is found and closure can be given to the family. Exactly.
And so we'll stay posted with that as well. But we're moving on to the Daily News. And our Senate President, Ronnie Russell. Some of you may think
I'm going to toss
hard on him, and some of you may think that it's only fair. You know, he has refused to provide them the information set forth in the audits that everybody has been long waiting for. And apparently, they're saying that he made empty promises on at least 2, if not more, occasions. And the Daily News has had enough. And it's gone down now that they've been battling, and those of you who've been reading the front page news, they've had the Senator Ronnie Russell on the front page of the Daily News for the past 2 days consecutively that I saw, I think Thursday and Friday, or Friday and Saturday, something like that, but it's really getting heated. So, what do you think? Too hard? Not too hard?
I'll let Boyd handle this for now because people say I'm too hard on the senator.
Right. Well,
I understand. I understand Ronnie's position as far as the investigation ongoing. If that's the case, then I understand that concept. But to I took up issue.
Hold on. Let's back up a little bit here. The audit is for the expense reports for all of the senators.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not saying
Okay.
that I'm in defense of him. I'm
Okay.
speaking for those who are
Alright.
not following our
Right.
too
Go
well.
ahead. Go right
His
ahead.
position is that the issue is still under investigation. So
Right, still under
because
investigation.
of that, he's not going to release any names or disclose the information regarding the audit. The Daily News, I tend to agree with the Daily News as far as it's putting him on the spot and exposing him. But the one issue I have with the Daily News is that they should do that for all individuals in the legislature, all who do bad, or all who are hiding things, or all who don't step up to the plate as far as doing what they're supposed to do for the people of Virgin Islands. I think it's politically motivated.
You think
Whomever
so?
is, of course.
So you don't you don't think though it's more in his capacity as president of the body? If you're in charge, you run the show, you got to take responsibility.
Of course, but I think
for
they use
your-
him for what they use him for. I know the fact that it is a political year and the possibility of him being re-elected is coming up. I think they're using that against him. It's just like what happened a few years back with his somebody was in his family, I think his brother and his uncle or somebody in the family came up with an issue just before election time.
Oh yeah, with his grandmother.
In
the pastor with his
2008. In
grandmother.
2008.
Correct.
But let me jump in. Again, a few weeks ago, I praised the Daily News.
Yes,
Again,
I remember
I'm
that.
going to praise the Daily News again. But the Daily News is right and wrong in this
That's
situation.
going to say, is their reporting accurate in this situation?
The thing about it
And is it fair?
the Daily News have all right to seek out truth, but they don't just seek out truth in terms of some. Seek out truth in terms of all.
Right.
There have been stories of public corruption from 2007 to now, and they've been very selective in terms of who they pursue.
Right.
Ronnie Russell, again, he is the Senate President. He is in the position of the leader. So who the fire is supposed to be under? Him. And the only thing I'm going to say,
So we agree on that.
Senator, stop the whining. What are you, man or mouse? I'm going to tell you straight up.
What is this whining?
No, he is whining.
He's defending.
No,
He's
he's
defending.
always defended. He's always holding on to somebody's frack tail. He's a man or is he a mouse? It's time that he starts to say, yes, I am president of the legislature. Yes, I am doing it to protect some senators right
So
now.
you think that's his motivation? To
His
protect
motive,
senators?
some.
Well, he has
He's
cited,
not doing it to
he
protect.
has
Who should-
cited, listen guys,
Go
he
ahead.
has cited a portion of the Sunshine Act that states specifically when you have a matter under investigation like this particular case that they want these audits for, there are certain precautions that you can take that excludes you from being subjected to the Sunshine Act. So come on, we can't just close our eyes and disregard
But
that.
my good attorney, you know the funniest thing in the Virgin Islands? When they want to hide information, it's always about the sunshine. Oh, the sunshine.
Sunshine
I am tired of that. Bring it out in the light. Senator Russell.
There's a time and
No, a
place
place.
for everything.
And another funniest thing, the time and place is now. The public needs to know.
Why
the public
now?
is assessing
Why
the
now
performance of
while
its.
we're just about to
Actually, the Daily News have been asking for this information for
Yeah,
a
but
lengthy
why is
time.
it now
Well, we
such
know
a
why now.
front
They're trying to
page?
press his hand.
Yes.
They're trying, of
And-
course,
and-
it's
Is that
election
not
time.
politically motivated?
Bring pressure to bear. You can't help the funniest thing about it is we say timing is everything. We know full well. Some of us know when we want things to get done in our household,
Yeah.
we wait until the most opportune time. So when the husband is groggy in sleep, we then drop it on him. Because you know full well he's not thinking clearly.
That mean it, huh?
But trust me, you may get an answer that you want.
Right.
I think the Daily News is putting pressure to bear in this regard. And I do feel they're right in that. But you know, the Daily News cannot be selective. And that's my thing. I'll go back to the Daily News. The Daily News is being selective. Ronnie Russell isn't just fair game. The other persons are not just fair game.
I agree with them.
Other
I agree
people
with
are
that.
fair game. For instance, let me give you an
I
example.
was going to say, be specific.
2 Thursdays ago, a senator that shall remain nameless had a performance at UVI. I mean, a deplorable performance at UVI. Have you heard anything about that in the news? Has the organizer of that event made any statements about it? No. But she has been allowed to run amok in these Virgin Islands. But that senator appears to be above the law. Foul. Daily News has to seek out truth. Has to seek out truth no matter where it's at. Not just under Ronnie Russell, but in every seat in the legislature, in every elected and appointed office in the Virgin Islands.
I agree.
And even if Clint Ferris is doing wrong, seek it out too.
I agree.
Okay. Okay, so you think it should be across the board?
Yes,
Maybe-
fairness.
Maybe Ronnie Russell, the good
And excuse my tone,
is
but
getting
I'm getting
a little
passionate.
But let's go on to the Senate rejects the limits on spending power. The Senate
Yeah.
Committee on Rules and Judiciary rejected a bill that would have reined in the Senate's use of funds for property procurement at a contentious hearing. This was last Thursday. The bill also would have codified a process for awarding bonuses to legislative employees. So, it looks like the
Rejected.
Senate President again, Ronnie Russell, would have had full power to award bonuses retroactively to all legislative staff working dating back to 2000.
And again, that's ridiculous as far as he's concerned, because look at all the people that lost their jobs over the last couple of years. Look at the 8% cost. Nobody's addressing that. Look at the issues with the nurses and the teachers. Nobody's addressing that. And he got a guy to give bonus raises to retroactive pay towards the legislative staff. And that's bogus.
You know, the sponsor of that bill was Senator Patrick Lewis Hill, if I recall. And he's saying that was a gross misrepresentation of what the bill really stood for and what the objective of the bill was. And again, his position was, like Ronnie Russell has been saying, it was to malign the Senate President and put him in a bad light.
But can I ask this? Is Senator Lewis still coming back?
No.
No, he's
As
not.
far as we know now.
And again, my thing about it is, that bill didn't go far enough. I'm going to tell you this. We need to repair and actually erect a bonus and merit system within the Virgin
Well, we
Islands
talked
government.
about that so many
Correct.
times.
So don't be
That's what
piecemeal about it. If you're going to do anything, start to create something that's just not just for legislative employees.
So you're not
but
saying that legislative employees are not deserving of
of
this?
bonuses, but not at this time, but create a comprehensive bill that is going to address performance
Okay.
and merit as we go on. Because think about it, in this bad economic time, give the people something to look forward to
Right.
and something to aspire to. And you can
I got
build morale and build good government service on the fact that there's bonus and merit. However, restrict bonus and merit right now just to unionized employees.
I see.
Exempt employees already receive that in their salaries and the numerous perks that they get, because there's only one jurisdiction on the American flag that
Then
someone.
isn't that an unfair treatment of the employees by treating the unionized employees one way and the exempt employees?
No, they are treated differently any which way. My thing is a starting point. Deal with unionized now.
But your union contract spells out your incremental raises that you get on a regular basis.
Let me give you-
every year,
let me give you
every
example.
2 years for the life of the. That's not sufficient.
The University of the Virgin Islands, their president comes in 1 year. According to them, he performs exemplary in 1 year, and he's given a $25,000 raise. What about those
Is it a
people?
raise or is it a bonus?
$25,000 bonus.
Okay.
Now, think about those people in admissions, financial aid, who have been working tirelessly for
I
years
know what you're going to say. The message that's being sent.
to
that they're
develop,
wrong.
because the gains he earned that year didn't start with him. It started 2-3 years
What have they been
before
working
him.
on? Right.
Why wasn't that bonus given to those people? And then retroactively, he then gives them $1,000, and then a few months later, the 8% cut comes, takes away that $1,000 plus more.
Right.
Is that fair? No. I said start with those people. Unionizing the general government and those people who are in staff and professional positions in the semi-autonomous agencies that are not
Doesn't that
covered.
fall under the union? Does the union have voiceless?
Thank you.
But
The
union is a
leadership of the
deteriorating
union is who should
entity.
address that.
The union is really.
And you see, and that's where I'm gonna, if you make, I beg to just turn the page a bit.
Yeah.
This evening I heard Soto Thomas, who's the president of the AFT. She's saying that on the 22nd that they're having a mini quest
Oh yes. The straw poll.
at UVI.
No.
And
And it should-
at Complex.
Complex.
At Complex. And she's saying that they're gonna do a straw poll.
No.
Right.
When does this union stop straddling the fence? They need to come out in a leadership position and say, no,
Talk about- but-
we are suing the government. Our position is this. Anybody who voted, no. But this is the time that they marshal their support. They are 2,000
election
members
time.
strong.
When it matters more.
Stop being a mouse or being mice, being led to the
What
slaughter.
do you anticipate they should be coming out and
They should be saying, these are the people who voted against the union. These are the people who allowed the LEAC to rise. These are the people who allow HES to
And then
close.
what? Get rid of all of them? Is that what it is?
I am not saying get rid of it, but hold them accountable for their vote. The union needs to take a position. They need to stop this nonsense. AFT, steel workers, SIU, all of them need to start to show up and let these elected officials start to quake, because 2014 is coming. Who comes and runs before you for governor need to understand. Working men and women, union members are going to stand strong, and we are going to make sure, if you don't support us, we're going to either vote you in, vote you out, or we're going to, that's what we need to do.
We got more hot topics, so we're going to take a break right now. Be right back. Welcome back to VI Voices, and joining us, we have Mr. Warren Mosler for Congress 2012, the right choice for a new voice. Welcome.
Good night.
Thank you for being here.
Hello to everyone.
Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I was born in 1949 in Manchester, Connecticut. Went to Manchester High School, went to the University of Connecticut. Graduated in the class of 71. It was 1971, degree in economics, and then I went into banking. Took me 2 years to get a job. We were in a very bad recession, much like today. The first job interview I went to, the person said, I don't know why we're here, we're laying people off. Okay, and I went down to Florida, got a job working in a swimming pool, putting out maps. Came back, got a job in a bank, collecting delinquent loans, people who can pay, and one of the officers got promoted and they made me in charge of their investments. It was a very small bank with small investments, but I made contacts. And so people on Wall Street and people called me to talk about our investments. They liked what I did for whatever reason. I wound up going to New York to Bankers Trust on Wall Street in 1976, where I say that's where I grew up in the financial markets.
So you spent your last 40 years basically in the financial markets?
40 years in the financial markets. Okay. Started my own company 30 years ago, moved it here 10 years ago.
Why do you want to be in our community? I know you've been here at least 10 years,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Why do you want to be selected as our next congressman?
Okay, it's strictly a matter of conscience. Okay, I see the issues. It's what I do. It's a financial crisis. Every issue we talk about is a financial problem. Money for this, money for that. That's what I do. I've been getting money for people for 40 years. I have clients I've been making money for. I've worked with Washington, Social Security, and other things. I'm a progressive economist, probably the leading voice that supports all the other progressives.
Do you think that's our solution, getting us money? Is that what you think is the crux of our problem here in the Virgin Islands?
I think that without that, we have no chance. Once we have it, we still have serious problems, but that's fundamental. It's like if you're a farmer, you might have a problem with your crops in the soil, but if it doesn't rain, you have nothing. Okay, it's got to rain here first. We've got to get our funding.
America is $1 trillion, 3, 4, 5, 6 trillion dollars in debt.
15 trillion.
Okay, how are we going to get the money? Where are we going to get it from? Where are we going to get the money from to bring to the Virgin Islands?
Okay.
About these jobs that you're talking about.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Chairman Bernanke, and I've met with him twice.
Yes.
And I know the people in the Fed. I've been in monetary operations for 40 years. That's what I do on the inside. Was asked, where did the 500 billion or whatever it was come from for the banks? Was that taxpayer money? He goes, no. We just use our computer to mark up the number in their account. Okay, he didn't go borrow from China like Governor Romney says or anything like that. He didn't become the next Greece. He didn't pay interest on it. Okay, he just does that. The European Central Bank spent 500 billion euro the other day. Don't get it from anywhere. The central banks of each country, all spending, all federal spending, every social security check, everything. They're just changing the number in your bank account. You can see it on your online banking. You might have $1,000 in your account. And then here's the day your social security comes in, and now you have 2,000. What did Washington do? They changed the 1 into a 2. They did not take any gold coins and hand them in. They didn't take somebody's money. Right? And when they collect taxes, do you know what they get? The federal government now. They get nothing. Okay. They just change the number down in your account. You write a check, and they clear it. It's called clearing the check. They change the number down. Okay? You pay with cash, they throw it in the shredder.
Well,
there is not a shortage of money in Washington.
Well,
I think there is.
Well, I guess we could have a different opinion on that all the time, but
yeah.
Let me just ask this and I'll let Clint go in.
Yeah.
You talk about 1,000 jobs that can be created,
yes.
a cleanup from Movensa.
Yes.
What exactly is that about?
Okay, so back in February, I proposed that what we do is work with Movensa to make arrangements with them, okay, so that we could use their electric generators to produce electricity for St. Croix. They run on propane. The tank's already there. It's already a low-cost fuel. It's less than natural gas. And it's already set up. They were using it because it was low cost. They were generating it. Rather than sell it, they used it. They changed the pipes around, so they've been importing it. Okay, it's all set for us. It saves us $50 million a year, maybe more in fuel. So now you say, why would they do that for us? It's all that expensive equipment. In return, we offer them a discount on the power they need in their new storage terminal. Okay, because they don't actually have any use for that equipment. They have to take it apart and sell it on eBay. I don't know what to do with it, but it's, you know, it's hard to move. So if they could get a nice discount on the electricity for their storage terminal, it would make it worthwhile for the shareholders. Okay. Second part, their cleanup responsibility is to bring it back to original condition. Okay, that means
the refinery?
Yes, that means ripping out the docks and bringing it back to the swamp. It's billions of dollars of shareholder liability. My proposal was that if they were to, you know, we will lower the standards. We will say, look, you can leave the docks. We don't want you to rip them out. We want to use them for ourselves, okay? But you've got to clean up all the chemicals. Make this perfectly clean so we can eat off the ground, right? Okay, we will lower the standards so you don't have to rip the docks out. We will save your shareholders several $billions a year in back in liability. In return, we want you to start the cleanup right away with 1,000 jobs until it's finished. That was my proposal in February. I later met with executives at Hovensa. Okay, after the governor had, I've met with our officials and talked about it. They liked the idea. Then somehow everything changed.
Our officials, meaning our local government?
Yes, the executive branch and the legislative branch.
Okay.
Okay.
Were you a part of the meeting?
It was my meeting. I met with the senior officials and made this proposal on how it worked. They thought it was a good idea.
I'm not speaking about that particular meeting. I'm talking a meeting that the legislature and the governor or the executive branch.
I met with members of the legislature and members of the executive branch.
So that closed
More than
meeting,
once.
you were part of that
It
closed
was an
meeting?
informal meeting. We just sat down and talked.
Okay.
I'm not an elected official. They just like they come
Just
talk to you.
bounced off like your ideas? and
Yes,
all
just
that.
bounced off. They liked the ideas and they were actually moving in that direction when something changed. And the governor said in that famous speech that you either have to refine or sell it to someone who will. Okay, that didn't work out. We knew that. I seriously suspected that would not work out. Okay, it didn't work out, and now they called another meeting, and I understand they're back to this proposal. In the meantime, I spoke to senior officials at Hovensa. Okay, and I said, look, this is what I proposed. We can, you let us use this for electric power, we'll give you a discount for your storage terminal, because that's going to be very expensive for them, because their generators are too big. They're not efficient for the small storage. He said, wonderful. That's what we want. We're here in our shareholders' best interest. That doubles our return on equity. We save $50 million. They save $10 million, whatever it's going to be on electric. Good.
But the problem is, I don't think the people of St. Croix want no storage terminal.
Well, maybe they don't.
You know,
Okay,
I don't think that's going to really help our problem.
Why would anybody care?
Well, I don't know how that's going to. How is that going to?
Because
better
what
us?
it does, okay, is it brings in for openers $50 million a year in fuel savings. Okay, for us.
So you're trying to say that's a quick fix? Because we've had a lot of people on our show, and we're still looking to hear the quick fix. Are you saying that's
It's
a
an
quick
immediate
fix?
drop.
And a quick fix, I'm not talking over a 2-year period. I'm talking about a quick fix
That
now.
equipment's already there, already operational. What we need to do is just connect it to the substation. We've already got the
So what's the
plans.
turnaround period you're talking?
We're talking about less than 6 months.
Less than 6 months?
Yeah, and we start saving $50 million. Now, we're spending probably close to $300 million a year on fuel. So it's not everything, but it's a start. And $50 million, you can't just be throwing $50 million bills out the window when the kids can't play basketball because we don't have
Well, Hugo
$80,000
Hodge was
and
on the
we're laying
radio
off
lately.
teachers.
How does he feel about this? Have you had
Who's that?
discussions with Hugo Hodge?
I met him one time at WAPA and he thought it was reasonable. I've run into, it's just a casual conversation. We've got a situation here where we are under the 1954 Organic Act, and that act produced a dysfunctional form of government. It created a dysfunctional form of government. It can't work. If you put San Francisco under the 54 Organic Act, their government would look like ours within 10 years. And they're blaming the victims here for something that Congress imposed on us. And it doesn't allow the agencies to talk to each other. Many problems, but that's one of them. So these people are not talking to each other. Just by going around and talking to them, they learn and I learn.
Well, like that you bring that up because you had two issues here. You say you're going to submit legislation for Congress to amend the Organic Act.
Yes. That's the open
to reduce the number of senators. You think reducing the number of senators is the issue? So that's going to resolve the issue that we have, the problems that we have in the
It's one
Senate?
issue. It's one issue. Now, we need to do a couple of things. One of them is we need to be able to amend the Organic Acts ourselves. And so one of my pieces of legislation will be for Congress to change how we can amend the Organic Act. We have to be able to amend it the same way the
They
states
gave us the
amend their
permission to write
constitution.
that constitution. A constitution is going to do away with the
Right,
Organic Act altogether.
and what I'm
So-
saying is that process that they gave us, the Constitution, is an impossible process. The reason we failed 5 times isn't because of us. It's because of the process they gave us. It's impossible, and they blame the victims. They come up with a document and they say, "What are you people doing?" It's, "What are you doing?"
So we should
You gave us a
support-
process that
So
came
you're
up
saying we
with.
should consider status prior to doing it? Prior to status?
I'm saying that they need to give us a new starting point. They need to give us a better way to amend the Organic Act, and then let us do it. Let us do it through a proper
Well, Mr.
amendment.
Mosler, I'm hearing you saying before it even happens that this next constitution is going to fail again. That's basically.
I don't know. I hope it succeeds. But if history is any guide, it's the 5th one, right? It's been too long. We should have been able to do it the first time. Nobody has these kinds of problems.
Mr. Mosler, I have one
Sure,
pressing
yeah.
question. I have one pressing question. How are the voters? Do you think the voters of them should take you seriously? And because it's apparent that you seem to vacillate ever so often. One time you're running on the mainland for a similar position, and now you're back here running
Yes.
for the same position.
Yeah.
So how should I, as a voter, take you? Are you committed to the Virgin Islands? And tell me all about it.
Okay, first of all, I live here. I've been here 10 years. I've never lived anywhere else since I've been here. I've been doing everything to try and promote our best interest. I ran in 2004 on cutting our WAPA bills in half. I could see this problem. They were too high back then, okay? And the door was wide open then. We're going to run out of time. I could tell you how to do it. But I had it on the newspaper, how to do it. I thought people would do it even if I lost. They did. 2006, I showed how we could get the right to vote for president through absentee ballot. It was in the newspaper, on radio. I showed exactly how to do it. Nobody did it. We could have
Through
voted in
absentee-
2008.
Explain that. Through absentee ballot?
Yeah, if you're a soldier in Afghanistan, how do you vote?
Oh, okay.
You register in a state and you vote by absentee ballot. We can do
But
the
that's
same thing.
but that's registering in a state. This is
Yes.
an unheard court.
We could be allowed to register in a state. We have 30,000 voters, there's 50 states.
Why do I want to register in a state if I live here?
Well, you don't have to, but if you want to
But
vote for president,
that's
you
my
can do
point.
it.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
If you have
you know
people
what?
that live here,
I talk to people here, I say, would you like to be able to vote for, it's not perfect, we're a small group, but would you like to be able to vote by registering in a state, and then you could have cast your vote for President Obama or Senator McCain.
You're basically giving them an option if they wanted to.
It's
vote
an
for
option if you
president,
want to
not the
vote for
Senate.
president and have your vote heard, it would just be in another state.
Well, sir, let
But
me ask
before you go
this.
there,
Go
Natalie.
ahead.
Okay, so let me just
Yeah, no,
finish your question.
yeah,
In
because I didn't get to that.
2010,
Because we wanted
our
to run out of
economy was
time.
desperate, and we needed to have a payroll tax holiday. Now, we're running out of time. I needed to promote that. Some friends asked me to run for senator in Connecticut. We pay these taxes, FICA taxes. We pay $200 million a year to Philadelphia. We don't keep those. Right? I wanted to eliminate those. The whole country needed it. The president needed it, or this economy was going to be much worse. Okay? I started promoting it. I was an independent. I went up there. I was writing for the Huffington Post, the progressive journal. I was on Fox News and CNBC, both sides. I talked to senators. I talked to congressmen. I got the deal. I got the payroll tax holiday. It happened. I got to President Obama through his personal assistant named Love, and he passed it into law. And our paychecks went up by $20, $30 a month then, and it kept the economy from being much worse than it is. Without that, unemployment, instead of being 7.8% would be over 9%. Okay? It would be a disaster. I was only up there for a few months. I didn't vote. I came back home once I had accomplished my goals. We got to do all of the above for the Virgin Islands. We are in a serious emergency. This ship is sinking. I was just talking to somebody tonight about the cost of fuel we're getting for these RFPs. Okay, we're looking at $6 gasoline in January, February, and another 30% increase in the LEOC.
Well, let me ask you
What are we
this,
doing
though.
about it?
Our congresswoman is well-grounded. She's been doing a job over all of these years. She's made partnerships and relationships in Congress.
Yeah.
You're running as an independent. How will you be able to, if you were selected as congressman for the U.S. Virgin Islands, be able to make inroads in a relatively short period of time that will assist us here in the Virgin Islands, particularly on St. Croix?
In a very short period of time.
Very short.
In 3 months, I was able to promote this payroll tax holiday nationally. I didn't even have an office. I was just a candidate for U.S. Senate as an independent in Connecticut. Being an independent, let me talk to, Joe Lieberman from Connecticut was an independent. I talked to conservatives, and I talked to progressive Democrats. It was a good idea for everybody. They came together, went to the president, and he passed it into law. Okay. In 2003, I was called to meet with the Bush administration. I met with Andrew Card at the White House. Same thing, the economy was terrible. I showed them what they had to do. Bush statement the next week was, I don't look at numbers on a piece of paper, I look at jobs, the economy improved. Okay? I did that as an independent. I worked with a Republican administration and a Democratic administration. I've worked along the way as advisors to Alan Grayson and Ron Klein and all kinds of people in Congress. This is what I've been doing. I mean, I come down here and you see me walking around the street in my shorts and sandals. I get in my office, I'm working.
You have a comprehensive economic plan?
Yes, I have a plan. This is my life's work, okay? I've started what's called modern monetary theory. It's the latest thing that's supporting the entire progressive movement right now. The rest of it is crumble. I've got the definitive answers on how to save Social Security and Medicare, and they're coming to me with these things.
And if I heard you correctly, you're saying that our main issue is finances. If we don't have the finances, we're sinking.
Yes.
Basically, that's what you think is going to be the save-all for us in the territory?
No, what I said was, and let me repeat it, without finance, we have nothing. With finance, we still have serious problems. You can throw all the money you want at the public schools. You can throw all the money you want at the schools. Those children aren't going to learn if you don't do it properly. But with no money, they have no chance.
Okay, well, listen to this. We're just about out of time. Tell us how we can find out more about your platform, your economic plan, and
okay, you can find me on Facebook under Warren Mosler. You can find me on the web at moslerforcongress2012.com. You can email me at home, warren.mosler@gmail.com. You can come to my office down at Chandler's Wharf above the old Taste Place. We've got headquarters in the bingo building. It's not open all the time. I don't have a staff over there. It was a lot more fun before 2008 when I had a lot of money to spend. I got cut down at the knees by the financial crisis, so I'm a little bit tight this year. And what else can I tell you? My phone number in the office is 692-7710. Have I forgotten anything? I'm Warren Mosler, number 5 on the ballot. Stay alive with number 5. Okay, independent candidate, the right voice, the right choice for a new voice. Wear me out here. I know why they call it the hot. I know why they call it the hot seat. You don't have any air conditioning. You can have air conditioning with 70 cents electricity coming up.
I hear you.
Okay, that's going to be something we tell our children about. Do you know there used to be air conditioning? Oh wow, Mom, what was that?
All right, well that was Mr. Mosler, the right choice for
new voice.
Sign on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All the best. Good luck.
Good luck.
And we're back with VI Voices this evening. I forgot to mention that Norma Picard Samuel was also supposed to be on as well.
She was scheduled to be here.
She was scheduled to be here, but she has to reschedule. So hopefully you'll have an opportunity to speak with her so that you, the viewing audience, can get a little bit.
I hope former Senator Redfield is going to come.
Oh, that's right. We also have former.
I hope he comes. Because I have some questions for him.
They've all been invited, okay? So we'll wait and see who else shows up. But nonetheless, we're going to pick back up with our hot topics that are getting really hot tonight. And Clint, you were talking about the AFT. And the mini quest that took place.
No, that they will be having on Monday. And see, my thing is, these are very deliberate times and decisive times in the Virgin Islands.
It is.
And unions and these different organizations that we belong to need to start to exercise good leadership.
But Clint, that's easier said than done because our unions today, unfortunately, are not as powerful as the unions of the past.
Well, they're not powerful because they're not local.
The
majority, I believe that's a big problem because the majority of the money doesn't stay here. It goes to whomever in America.
But
and not only that.
Notwithstanding, though, the union membership is slowly dwindling by the same reasons.
Well, the union membership, because the membership is failing, or the membership is they're losing membership.
Yeah, they're losing.
Because you're losing faith in the system or in the leadership. That's what the issue is. The issue should be the leadership. See, the leaders.
Listen.
If in order for you to control the body, you cut off the head. The leaders are supposed to be the head of the body. So the leadership is what carries the union.
Okay.
You understand? So if the leadership come out and shows, like you said, I mean, use his term, man or mouse. The leadership come up and be man, then of course the body gonna follow because they're looking for somebody to lead them.
But
that's
your
what a leader
body
is.
is getting too small in numbers.
And you're right. There's some contraction taking place, attrition. That natural attrition is taking place. People retiring as well as people are being moved up to other positions.
And the positions are turning into exempt positions.
Correct. But listen to this.
That's a way to get it.
I said this. AFT is still couple thousand strong. Not just couple thousand
Isn't
strong.
that the largest union?
Yes,
It is.
and if you combine both AFT St. Thomas and AFT St.
Right.
Croix, they probably have 4,000 votes.
And then they have the EAA branch of that, which
And
is
not only that, they have
administrative.
family, they
Thank
have
you.
relatives, they have
Thank
family
you.
that they put.
And think about it. They usually, an election like this, it probably takes about 4,000 to 5,000 to get elected in the St. Croix district. That's 50% of the votes needed by somebody that the AFT presently have. And you're telling me they're quarreling right now and saying we're going to take a straw poll? No!
Listen,
Again, I repeat, that's a reflection on the leadership.
Right.
That's
This
a
time
reflection
hasn't
on the
come yet.
leadership, and that's what union is. Union is unity. The word unity is in union. And unless the leaders stand up and put it and bring it straight like that, like we got to stand up and take charge of something instead of
And
having
I'm
this.
not disagreeing with
yeah.
you guys at all.
Yeah.
What would you say to the union leadership?
What would I say about the union membership? It's time.
No, the leaders, the union
the leaders.
You want to step up to the plate.
Step up to the. What I want them to do, I want them to do this. On Monday and on Friday in the St. Thomas district, we're going to tell our membership, these are the issues that have befallen our membership over the last 2 years. These are the culprits. And yes, culprits. That's what the senators are. These are the ones who have did this act upon you.
You want to remind
Remind them and tell them
themselves.
this is the platform of our union. This is what we stand for.
Isn't that the freedom of voting based on your conscience and what you think and who you want to forgive and who you want
But,
to hold
but
accountable?
I am telling the union they need to tell their membership and remind them the persons who cause us harm, who cause us pain and cause us to be almost be put out on the street without bread, these are them and these are their faces, and we are gonna let their voices be, our voices be heard.
Yes, sir.
We shall not be deterred. And I'm telling these union leaders, step up to the plate. Stop taking straw polls and then publish it on the news and say, this is what,
You
no.
know, Clint,
It's going to be up to the union. It's going to be
Come,
up
yes,
to
tell me back up, Mike. I
It's
like
gonna
when you
be-
tell me
it's gonna
that to
be-
back up. I want to know where you're coming from.
let's back it up.
Amen.
I agree with Clint.
What is so detrimental about having a straw poll that would at least give some idea of what to expect? What's so wrong with it?
Hey, this is time that we.
Don't you want to?
No. This is warfare.
You think it's
in
meaningless?
warfare? There's nothing about dissenting views.
It's getting hot up in here. okay?
We are walking in lockstep. We are taking the fight to them, and while we take it to them, we're gonna let them know we have 2,000 votes in our pocket, and if you don't back down, I'll do our bidding in the next
Well, I'll tell you
legislature.
this much.
We bring it to bear.
I agree.
This is my take on Clint's
Yes,
position here.
attorney.
My take is if the union leaders were to listen to good old Clint here, who's very outspoken as you can see, one thing you will know for sure is the power of the union.
Amen.
If they were to listen to that, you will know at the end of the day.
I just
And that
wanted to
I
add
agree
to
with
that.
Thank
I
you.
was once a part of a union.
You
and I'm
were.
as a member, and I'm telling you, the members has lost faith in the union
Yeah.
itself. All they do is paying union dues because it's the law to do so.
Right.
But can I give you-
So I am taking
Right.
it. Once again, I have to continue saying it's the leadership.
Can I give
It's
you
the
one
head.
example?
But the leaders are also crippled because I represent the principals and administrators unions in the territory.
Well, then we need to take that.
And they are so small in numbers that they're almost non-existent.
Well, then we need to
and when
make-
they have positions that are retired, the people that are retired, you're not replacing them. They're
And-
becoming exempt or leaving them vacant.
And that's the challenge. But let me give you an example of a union. USW, Provenza. Remember, the USW had a contract. Oh, they went to meet with the leadership. We're not going to take any pay raise. They negotiate no pay raise over 2 years, and at the end of 2 years, this is bam bam.
Right.
What did Provenza do right before the sunset of that and those new benefits be instituted? No, Provenza shut its doors. Now, do you think Provenza knew that this was going to take place? Yes. But if the union had stood their ground, and Clint Ferris said back then, the union should stand up and let their vote. Do not go into the plan. Let them close the doors on you, and let's see what happened. But what did they do? Take no pay raises. And at the end, Provenza offered them, oh, you show up to work door, do your job to shut down this plant, you get $20,000. You see? So we can't wait for tomorrow. We have to wait We have to do it today. So I'm telling the union leaders, I'm telling the union membership, let your voices be heard at this time. Those senators who vote for the 8%, the AFT need to remind their membership who they are.
Well, see,
Call them by name and say, in the St. Croix district, we will not be voting for so and so.
The reality is the union is under attack, big time.
So then, get on the offensive, unions. Start to bite back. And if you need a dog, a big biting dog, find one.
There's strength in numbers.
Well, I agree, definitely.
There is strength in numbers, and that's the issue right there. As
opportunity
long as the
is there.
union beat a union, there's no way they can lose.
We're going to stay tuned for this. There's going to be a part 2 to this because we want to see what the union's going to do. I see that as a challenge to the union, so let's see what's going to happen.
Correct.
But you know, moving back to the Daily News, I understand that the same time, you saw when they ran the newspaper twice for the front page of Ronnie Russell, the same time that they ran that with his failure to give up the legislative records regarding what travel and other expenses for the various senators, it was side by side with this bill, again, that was apparently set up to malign him or put him in a bad light or cast him in a bad light. Now, what I want to know is, if the Daily News says we've been requesting this information since December of last year, and still they haven't gotten it. And now they're even considering, I think, taking legal action or whatever their rights are to make sure that they get this information. Ronnie Russell, as the Senate President, has an option here. He has to stick by his guns, and as he has already claimed, there's a lawsuit, there's pending investigation, that's going to be a potential lawsuit. There's only so much I can do, so don't blame me. Others think, well, he's trying to protect some people, okay? Others think, well, you know what, they're being too hard on him. But at the end of the day, there's a protocol here. He is the Senate President, and he believes that he's doing the right thing. Now, if the Daily News disagrees with him, do you think that it should be published in the front page for 2-3 days straight? Or is that putting too much pressure on? Or is that what needs to be done to get what the people think that they need to see? And you know what, at the end of the day, when they get it, so what?
I don't think it's too much pressure.
So what?
I think they should do it. They do it once, they should do it twice, they should do it 3 times. And because the public want to know, we want to know the information, we want to know who is responsible for this $6.97 million.
But then there's some senators, like I think Natalie O'Reilly said plain out, if anybody want to see my travel records, I have them.
Right.
But
So why can't we just go to the individual senators and get them from the
I am
individual
tired of that.
today?
Now, we want to see the comprehensive document called an audit. And why are you, and again, we keep hiding these documents that should be public information. Now, when it comes for you to go before the legislature for confirmation for certain positions, they want to see even your dirty underwear, and they feel that's right. Why is it right to us who happen the stockholders and the shareholders of this corporation called the Virgin Islands government to see the balance sheet, to see every financial document? And another they keep saying, oh, investigation, or we did that, and they said no, there's a law. No, that's foul. That is foul. And I think the Daily News have all right to use their bully pulpit called the Daily News to get Ronald Russell to cover. But Ronald Russell does the same thing.
They cannot bully.
But Ronald Russell does the same thing.
They want. Bullying that's just not the gesture.
But Ronald Russell is doing that with his show. No, let me ask the question. No, and I put this out there. His talk show. No, can somebody tell me who is paying for that talk show? Is the government?
That's been a question.
No, honestly, is the Virgin government paying for that? And what about election financing? We need to start to see that. Those are things that. So honestly, Ronald Russell, and Senate President Ronald Russell. Let me not make it personal. Senate President Ronald Russell, as the leader of that body, needs to exercise due diligence, and to this point, he has not. And maybe that's the opinion of Clint Ferris.
Well, you know, Clint Ferris has opinions, because look, for example, when they talk about accountability and transparency, and they were making the 8% negotiations and whether or not they should pass that bill. There are some senators and the incumbents, I remember some of them. Senator
Sanders sat right here and said,
you know what
he saw the document.
That's right. All the financial documents was right there.
He saw the document.
So
wow, I want to see the document that Senator Sanes saw as
it
well.
was clear as to what the financial condition of our, right? Was that what they were
Do you know the financial condition of the Virgin Islands?
I don't.
I've heard them stand on their pulpit and speak, which they have the legislative channel, they use the newspaper, they've said all of that, but they have not made a case to us.
But then why wasn't that on the front page? Isn't that to me more significant?
And
do you not think that getting their personal travel expenses and we already don't know they traveled?
Attorney Tang, you see, you're right, and that's what we said. The Daily News is it's a fair and foul situation with the Daily News because they can't have it both ways, and I think that's the predicament they're in right now.
Right?
They have shown, and I'm going to say this, it holds true to both newspapers in the territory. They're very selective on what they run. They do not seek out truth, and they only seek out truth for some. They allow others to hide, and they allow all of this to fester up to this particular point, because there's no way that somebody who has not paid 20 years of taxes in the Virgin Islands and now sits in a body that made taxes should be allowed to sit there and continue to sit there. But do you see they seek that out? Any one of the papers? No, but they continue to allow that. And I'm not just picking on her, I'm just talking about these are some of the things that are taking place in the Virgin Islands that these two newspapers have failed to cover.
Just like you have selective prosecution, you have selective reporting.
But it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that, and that's Clint's point. It should not be like that.
And see, and that's where it goes. And you know, after we've done with this campaign, Clint Ferris will take up another charge.
You running for Senate?
No, not that. No, we're not going to talk about that yet. But we're going to take up a charge. We're going to start to be voices for the people, and we're going to start to get them to stand up and shake up this place. Because it's about time. We need to our next step is to hold the Avis and Daily News accountable. And then after we've held those two accountable, we're going to make sure we go to Government House, and the next people coming in, they're going to be able to do the nonsense that have taken place in the Virgin Islands for the last 8, 12, 20 odd years.
That may very well be needed, because at one point it was a free-for-all.
Still a free-for-all.
And my thing about it is I'm going to say one thing. If the legislature cannot start to do what they're supposed to do, and think about their record. They've only, in my young history of the Virgin Islands that I can remember, they've only sent back one nominee from the governor. That has been Miss Pampanato.
Right.
And you know the funniest thing? She happened not to be here. Where was the position when they brought Commissioner White? They brought the other lady to health. How come we never send them back? Because the governor then gave them raises. We already had set the ceiling for salaries and he gave them more raises. Where was
to offset the 8%?
Thank you. So I'm telling this to union members, whether it's AFT, USDSW, SIU, Police Benevolent Association, whomever you are, take a look. They voted to give Commissioner White a raise, but they cut your 8%. We need to start to hold these people accountable.
And you know what? You know the point about that too, with the Commissioner of Health? I forgot her name right now.
You see?
She walked away from it all. After going through all of that, she decided, you know what, this ain't for me. Goodbye, Virgin Islands, I'm gone. And that's just good for them.
No.
You need to support your own.
You hear that? Good for them, good for us, because the burden is on us. I have stocks in these corporations. Actually, I have more than
this. You have a vested interest in it all.
My kids have stocks. I have all of us have stocks.
It is what it is.
And we see, and they're not managing our corporate. If you think about it, if this was a business, would we allow this to happen?
We'd be
I have a question. We just had a candidate here, Warren Mosler. Anybody got any thoughts on Mosler?
I'm going to say, he's one.
Right.
Hey, that cat is a peculiar cat. I'm going to just say it.
I know
He has.
But Clint.
Why are you silent?
Cat caught your tongue?
No. Actually, it's rather perplexing. He's perplexing. He has some wonderful ideas.
You had a perplexed look on your face.
Yeah, I was perplexed. I'm still perplexed by his candidacy. And because I am one who believes, and I think he has some wonderful ideas over the years. And I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you this, and this may be a shock. This may not be a shock, but you can go and look at it. One of his nomination papers, I signed off on one of his nomination papers because I'm an idealist. I think once you meet the minimum standards, and I was signed off on the paper, but about 4 years ago, so I signed off on his paper. That doesn't mean
Right.
that his ideas I supported, but I signed off on his nomination papers. But I'm saying right now, he's a rather, his candidacy is perplexing because I truly can't get a grasp on what type of candidate he is. He does a lot of name dropping. And he does a lot of that. And it's evident that he knows people.
Right.
But can he actually go in, build relationships and work on our behalf?
He's in to mix it all up. So thank you for tuning in. We're about out of time for VI Voices this evening. Natalie, Clint, and Boy. Thank you for joining us. Remember to rock your voice. Your vote counts. So we'll see you next week.